Hello to all of our Dash partners. We have an exciting announcement today, and not just because selfishly my inbox will get a little bit lighter, but also I think yours will too. I want to say thank you to everybody who has passed those MWS credentials back and forth in email with us. As we work through the manual process and getting our MWS workflow set up in the platform. The good news is today we have that workflow available and recently released. So we're looking forward to having everybody add some MWS accounts. And the video here, I just want to show you how to do that in a couple key tips as you navigate this MWS Merchants view. So first things first, of course, you're going to find the MWS workflow and merchant workflow under account manager right next to your advertising accounts and advertising merchants. Of note, if you're not yet seeing this MWS merchants tab or you see like an old MWS accounts tab, go ahead and log out and hit Control-Shift-R. That'll do a hard refresh of your browser and clear out any of the old HTML that might be cached in there. And this is the view that you should be seeing. So once you're seeing that, you're going to notice a couple of things. If you haven't already added any accounts, this screen will be blank, but if you've had us add some accounts manually for you, you'll see this data here. In particular, we have a region column. Everybody knows that has added accounts thus far that the MWS auth token you provide for a given region gives us access to all of those marketplaces that belong to that region. So you only have to add it once, and then you get to pick and choose which marketplaces you want to activate for a given merchant. The other column that's important and worth noting is this MWS authorized column here. This is going to tell you whether or not you have already added an MWS auth token for a given merchant account. If you haven't, it'll show as false. If you have, it'll show as true. And for those that you have true, you can just simply push this activate button and it will bring you to this screen. When you initially activate a given merchant, just know that the initial orders and additional data for MWS will begin to populate within the hour or so, as long as we don't have a bunch of other things stacked up in there. But typically, you're going to see data populate within a couple of hours. The additional historical data takes a little bit longer to pull over the next probably 1 to 3 days, simply because the API has some throttling limitations. So the status here will change from data pull in progress to active within a day, 2 or 3 of activating within the platform. But you should see that initial orders data start to populate right away within the day. So in order to add a new account, new credentials that have not yet been added, you're going to go ahead and hit this add MWS auth token, or of course you can do it directly from here too. Just know if the merchant already exists because it's been added on the advertising side, you won't be able to change the name of the merchant. But if it hasn't already been added on the advertising side, you will actually be able to input a name. And then we just use whichever name was input for first, and that's simply to maintain some consistency across the data set, so you're not having 2 different seller names in your ad data versus your MWS data. So we'll just give the example of one that's kind of starting fresh here. We'll do a dash test. Selecting the region, go ahead and select the region that the credentials belong to. If you don't know, that's okay. We can actually figure that out programmatically. So just select one. But if you do know the correct one, go ahead and select it. And then go ahead and input that seller ID value, which we call the Amazon seller ID, which is also seen in the table as well, as along with the MWS auth token. Once you have those values input, oh, I missed the seller ID here. If you have those values input, go ahead and add the MWS auth token. And you're going to see, once we bring those in, the couple of merchants that are related to that auth token, you can then choose whether or not to activate those. So just like the advertising workflow, this is where you're going to do that. You can go ahead and kick off that data pull, and we'll begin pulling data right away. So that's our MWS account workflow. Hope you guys love it. Hope everybody is able to add a couple MWS accounts, and we'll be coming out with some additional materials and reports and actually some integration of the MWS data here in the platform as well very soon. So good luck, and thank you for being a Dash partner.